God did with Israel. And now we, as spiritual Israel, we have been sanctified. We've been set apart. We've been made holy. Because the Bible says that without holiness, I meant to do that earlier. Without holiness, no one will see the Lord. You cannot go to heaven and not be holy. Is that true? So the exalted nation is set apart. The exalted nation is safe. You know, another meaning of the word exalt is to raise as high as possible, and out of the reach of danger. Is another way of breaking the word exalt down. Interestingly enough, in Psalm 32, and we've heard this verse before, but thou art my hiding place. Thou shalt preserve me from trouble. Thou shalt compass me about with songs of deliverance. Psalm, thou art my hiding place and my shield. I hope in thy word. And many, many nations have been destroyed because those verses they were not a part of their reality. God exalts a nation that recognizes Him, His existence, His sovereignty, His standards. God will exalt a nation. And God has exalted America. So, set apart, safe, or anchor is another way of looking at that. We have an anchor that, what? Keeps the soul. And then, the exalted nation is strong. Is America a strong nation? Now, there are other countries, as you know, if you listen to radio, that are surpassing us, at least in the area of our economy. China. In the last 20, 25 years, I do a lot of reading about China, and it's just amazing what they've accomplished as a nation. But what's the problem? China is what? A communist country, meaning that they are atheistic. But by the way, there are millions and millions of followers of Christ in mainland China. I just wanted to pass that along as well. So, is America a great nation? Are we strong? Are we safe? Well, yes, we are. A lot of people look up to America. Now, there are a lot of nations that don't particularly care for us, and we know that. That's maybe a sermon for another day. But America has been made strong. We have some great inventors. Thomas Edison. And the list goes on and on and on of great Americans who have been instrumental in forging this country out of the woods and the past and making us and taking us into the 21st century. We are an incredible nation. Now, we have our problems. I get a little upset with our leadership. But God has certainly been working behind the scenes to make us a safe and strong nation. So those are the rewards of a nation that has been exalted. Now, thirdly, the revolt of the nation. And that would simply be the word sin. But sin. Now, as you all know, we did a series several months back on sin. I brought about 5 or 6 sermons on sin, but and this is the part of the message where it may get a little bit little depressing, a little bit more negative aspects about some of the promises to our nation. But unfortunately, sin. And I don't particularly care much for the word religion. I've had a lot of discussions with different preacher friends and just other believers because I'm I don't particularly care for the word religion itself. But you know, many people today, and you know this to be true, a lot of people today want a cafeteria style or a buffet style of religion. Is that not true? You know, we all understand buffets. Go to Golden Corral, and you'll know exactly what I mean. And so we just want to pick and choose. Oh, that looks good. Oh, I think I'll have that. You know, and so we just pick and choose, pick and choose. Well, that's not God's divine intent. See, that can't be right because there is only one God. There is only one nation. There is only one people. There is only one faith. Make sense? See, in this topsy-turvy, upside-down world, go back to Isaiah 5 and verse 20, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? We don't have time, but do it in your own time. Isaiah 5 and verse 20, and see if that doesn't go exactly with what I'm trying to say. People want to pick and choose. And that's said when God has already given us a thus saith the Lord. People want God to be merciful. They want Him to be loving. They want Him to be kind. And you've heard this before. We've talked about this, how people, they want a Savior. They want to see this Jesus up on the cross. But then that's as far as it goes. Because people are not willing to surrender to the Lordship of Jesus. Sacrificing, commitment, dedication, faithfulness, fruitfulness. See, that's a whole other story. And people are not willing to go to that extent. But God's Word is very clear. If you don't produce, you will become a withered branch, and you will be picked up, and you will be cast into the fire. That's clarity. You can't miss that. That's what Jesus is teaching in His Word. So people want this buffet style religion. They want Him to die for them, but they don't want to walk with Him. They don't want to surrender to Him. They don't want to be like Jesus. And you see that. People don't want to hear about the God of judgment, the God of wrath. They just want to hear about this God of love, God of mercy. The Bible is very clear that judgment day is coming. The day of reckoning is coming. Every president who has ever served, every wicked, evil despot, Hitler, Stalin, Mussolini, and on it goes. Every person who has ever lived will bow the knee. Will bow the knee and will confess that Jesus is Lord to the glory of God the Father. That's a reality, and that will happen in eternity future. People don't want to hear that. And I'm not a preacher who will give a lot of psychological battle. You just need to understand that God will judge this nation. God will judge you. God will judge me. And God will judge this nation. You can take that to the bank. God will not wink at it. God will not forget. God has not misplaced His records. God knows who He will say to, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." And He will also say to millions of people, "Depart from me. I never knew you." God hasn't lost His memory. God hasn't misplaced His books. God knows exactly who's going to heaven and who's going to hell. That's just absolutely clear. You can't miss that. The revolt of a nation is because of sin.